Genesis 4:2 continues the narrative of Adam and Eve's family after the birth of their first son, Cain. It introduces their second son, Abel, and establishes both brothers' vocations. While the description appears simple, it lays crucial groundwork for the events that follow. The first offerings, divine acceptance or rejection, and the first human murder. It also subtly introduces differences that will prove spiritually significant in the developing story of sin, worship, and moral choice. Verse 2, "And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground." Key phrases, "And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground." In Hebrew, the concepts for these phrases are as follows. 1. "And she again bare his brother Abel, Vatoseph laladet et achiv, et hevel." Vatoseph laladet. She continued to give birth, suggesting a second birth that may have occurred in close succession to Cain's, possibly twins. Et achiv, his brother, emphasizes their familial relationship, highlighting the relational dynamics that will soon turn tragic. Et hevel. Abel, from hevel, meaning breath, vapor, or vanity, a foreshadowing of his fragile and short life, cf. Ecclesiastes 1:2. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, vayehi hevel roetzon, shepherd of sheep, a role that included care, oversight, and likely animal sacrifice, especially in light of God's provision of animal skins in Genesis 3:21. This role becomes symbolically central throughout Scripture, pointing ahead to figures like David, Psalm 23, and ultimately Christ, the Good Shepherd, John 10:11. 3. But Cain was a tiller of the ground, v'kayin haya obed adama, v'kayin haya oved adama, worker of the soil, a continuation of Adam's post-fall role, Genesis 3:17-19, signifying toil, sweat, and dependence on cursed ground. Though a legitimate vocation, Cain's work is connected with the earth's curse, and thus cannot, by itself, produce a blood offering, a detail critical to what unfolds next. Genesis 4:2 introduces two brothers who are outwardly fulfilling noble, God-ordained roles, one tending life-giving animals, the other cultivating the cursed ground. But beneath the surface, it also reveals divergent spiritual postures and sacrificial capacities. Abel's vocation positioned him to offer animal sacrifices, aligning with God's prior action in Genesis 3:21. Cain's vocation bound him to the ground, which had been cursed. While his agricultural work was not sinful, it lacked the ability to produce a blood offering. Thus, this verse not only introduces the characters and their professions, it prefigures the central moral and theological conflict of the chapter. Will humanity accept God's way of reconciliation, even when it requires humility, dependence, and the shedding of blood?